Hey guys, so I know that my backdrop originally for the past couple of videos haven't been very interesting, especially since it was just a blank wall and a door. So I decided to change my angle a little bit, and I put it on a side of the room that I'm still working on. Like, for one, that's my, for right now, it's the Star Wars wall, but I may end up moving it elsewhere. And then, of course, I have a bookshelf with all of my pops, which I had in the last place. And I just felt like this would be a better backdrop, especially because, you know, I'm still experimenting with things in this space. And, well, anyway, that's not important right now. What's important is what I'm reviewing right now, which is the newest Amy Schumer film, I Feel Pretty. The film follows a woman named Renee, who is a website manager for a very top-end cosmetics company. So, Renee suffers from deliberating feelings of inadequacy, particularly having to do with her body. And one day, when she's at an exercise class trying to make herself feel better, she ends up hitting her head, and what she sees right after is, you know, her ideal version of herself. Nothing's changed on the outside. She looks the exact same, but in her head, she's a completely different person, and that fills her with enough confidence to where things start opening up for her in her life. You know, like, she gets the dream job that she wanted, and she's able to go out on a date with a guy that she really likes. For those of you who've seen my review of the movie Snatched, which also stars Amy Schumer from last year, you know that, as far as my opinion of her as a person, a comedian, and an actress, that I don't have the biggest or best opinion of her in those three aspects. However, that does not mean that I actually want to go into an Amy Schumer film and just outright hate it. I do not want to go into any movie with any kind of ounce of hate or dislike. I love going in and just giving every movie an equal shot, which I made sure that I did right when I walked into this movie. And honestly, even without expecting anything, I will be honest, I was still disappointed with this movie. But that does not mean that there aren't good things in this movie, so to showcase that, I will be doing another one of my pro and con lists, starting with the pros. I mentioned how in the film, while Renee believes that she looks different, in reality she looks exactly the same. And going a bit off of that, think about movies like Big with Tom Hanks, and When in Rome with Kristen Bell. Just think of movies like that. You know, the movie where somebody makes a wish, and it's like they're throwing a coin in a pond, or it has something to do with like a sort of superstition that if they do this certain thing, their dream will come true. And then some sort of otherworldly, supernatural sort of force basically says, okay, we'll grant your wish, there you go. One thing that I did like about this is that it took the fantastical element out of it. Instead, it said, no, she's not actually getting a wish that she wished for. She just got hit on the head, and she's fucking nuts right now. But the film does set it up to feel like it's going to be like one of those movies, because she's watching one of those movies, I'm not going to say which one, but she sees the scene where the character is making a wish, and you know, she gets the idea, goes outside in the pouring rain to a fountain, and flips a coin, says, I want to look beautiful, and then when it lands, she checks herself and nothing happens, and then the whole thing with her hitting her head happens, and then she instantly looks beautiful, and she actually believes that it's because she asked for that to happen. She believes in her head that it's all supernatural, and that it's like movies like When in Rome or Big, but it's really not. And honestly, that part of the movie was actually fairly interesting. I'd never actually seen, or at least, I can't think of a movie that did that, where it took that same concept and instead decided to do a bit more of a grounded take on the subject. Michelle Williams, this lovely woman that, you know what, I'm just going to pull her up on my phone, because sadly, I can't afford a good editing software that will let me put up pictures and images and just put clips over the video while I'm speaking to you guys. So, and believe me, I wish. I've tried with this current one, but sorry, I'm running out of breath. So I'm just gonna have to cut until I can pull up a good picture to show you guys. There she is, just beautiful. She is one of the greatest actresses that casual moviegoers have not heard of. And like, I personally love her. She's been in quite a few indie dramas and comedies that have been critically acclaimed, including Brokeback Mountain, Blue Valentine, Manchester by the Sea, All the Money in the World. And she's recently gotten a few more prominent roles in movies like The Greatest Showman. And later this year, she will actually be showing off her talents to a bigger audience by playing the love interest of Eddie Brock in Venom. But until then, you know, we have to settle for seeing her in a movie with Amy Schumer. So Williams plays Avery LeClaire, who is the head of the cosmetics company that that Renee works for. Sorry, Amy Schumer's character Renee works for. And I will be honest, she's the best part of the entire movie. Michelle Williams is, and her character's got this squeaky voice that I don't think would have worked for anybody. But for some reason, it really works with Michelle Williams doing it. She made it work, and then really a few of the only times that I actually the only time that I laughed outright during the movie, you know, was because of her, and it wasn't even a stupid joke about her voice. It was just she said something that was funny, and the way that she was saying it made it hilarious. The actor playing Renee's love interest in the movie actually wasn't bad on an acting level, and he did give me, he was responsible for me smirking a couple of times. The basic premise really isn't bad. When you strip it down to its basic format, the narrative, it's actually kind of good. I mean, you know, the narrative does come with that nice but very cliche message of self-confidence can be more beautiful than what's on the outside, but really, like I said, it's good. It's a good narrative. And sadly, I cannot think of any more pros, so I'm just going to go into the con list, which starts with Amy Schumer herself. And while this is just one single con on the con list, it's going to go a while. There's a few aspects to why she's so bad in this movie, and it's really going to feel like multiple cons, so just bear with me for a little bit. Again, I'm not hating on Amy Schumer because it's the cool thing to do, or it's popular, because when the hell did I ever do anything that was popular? Like, let's be honest, I've never done that. I am not a person who does things because they're cool. She really is not cut out to be an actor, let alone a fucking comedian. I really do not think she's funny at all. And for people, like, okay, if you like her, that's fine. I just don't get it. And really, she's the main reason why in this film, on a narrative level, why the film doesn't work. Despite the fact that in the last pro that I had, I said that the narrative at its base structure is good. When Amy Schumer is in a movie, the movie seems to kind of adopt the standard Amy Schumer formula, where it's just extremely predictable. It's overly colorful for some reason, to the point where it doesn't feel realistic at all. I feel like, okay, like some people don't like going to a theater watching a 3D movie because you're going to see this really awesome movie and then you put a tinted film in front of your eyes. For her movies, it feels like I'm putting on tinted film, but instead it's supposed to liven up all the colors, and it just doesn't feel realistic. She backtracks on everything and even vocalizes things that are going on when you don't really need to do that. And for some reason, it's like she thinks that the backtracking and questioning everything is supposed to make it funny. And there were even moments where I did actually give a damn about what was going on, like, okay, example. Renee and two of her friends at the start of the film had started this sort of online dating thing. I think it was called, like, grouper chat, grouper date, or something like that, but basically, you go on with, like, a couple of your friends, and then you go out on a group date. It's kind of like a double date, but more than 2 people per couple, which is not a bad idea. I don't actually know if those exist, but, you know, it does in this movie. So sometime after the injury that Renee has to her head, they actually get a group of guys to like them on the dating site, and then they're like, hey, come on, let's all go out on a date. So then they go out to meet them at a bar, and one of the girls, a heavier set girl, starts talking to this black guy who's part of the group, and you know what, they actually find something to talk about. It's a really small thing, but it's a common interest between them, something that they share. Like, she has an interest, and the interest is shared by the black guy's sister. But you know what? He has enough of a knowledge in there to where it kind of piques a bit of a conversation. And really, I felt a genuine human connection there. And that actually made a smile come to my face. I was like, wow, this movie is actually kind of warming me up. And then immediately right after that, Schumer kind of butts in and she's like, oh, we don't need to talk about common interests. How about I tell you about something slutty that she did when she was a teenager? Yeah, let's not talk on a date just to connect. Let's just get drunk and do jello shots until somebody pukes up a fucking lung. And since I am starting to slightly meld Renee and Schumer together, I might as well make Renee into... Renee, once she goes through her little change, becomes this really tiresome mouthpiece about what real women want. Despite the fact that all she does is stumble into place, and then people immediately, in a very unrealistic way, look at her and say, you know what, we want to know about your opinion, Renee, you know, just tell us. While that's bad, I really don't think it would be as bad if she was being portrayed by somebody else. It's simply not funny. I was the only person that was audibly laughing in the theater, and that was just because of that fucking joke by Michelle Williams that I kind of mentioned earlier. But other than that, nobody else stirred. There's no sense of comedic timing in the entire movie. It's like, okay, the director set it up to where there's this dead vacuum of air in between almost every sentence, as though they thought there would be uproarious laughter after every fucking sentence. The film is presented like a Judd Apatow film, but sadly it doesn't have things that you would expect from there, like the heart and intelligence and a little bit of wit, and of course the fucking humor's not in there. This movie has a conflicting message about the ideology of beauty and really what it means. There's actually quite a bit of body shaming in the film, particularly towards thin women. There's actually a bit in the film where it does try to sidestep that criticism that I'm giving it by putting in this scene, just abruptly throwing it in where Renee or Schumer, whatever the fuck you want to call her, in this. But she's talking to this woman that she's seen a couple of times throughout the movie, and the girl's going through a rough time. You know, her boyfriend just broke up with her, and she's having self-confidence issues, and she's a thin woman. And Schumer's character just looks at her and says, you're a fucking idiot, I should fucking kill you for saying shit like that, because you're so beautiful, you shouldn't be allowed to have feelings, basically. But then, of course, there's like a little throwaway line right there where the woman says, you know, it's because of you people, it's because of people like you that I have self-confidence issues. And then, you know, it just gets shoved to the side to make room for more plus-size praising when there shouldn't be any fucking particular praising. It should only be praising in people who are self-confident in themselves, no matter what no matter what body size they are. And that's all of my thoughts, good and bad. Now, again, I basically feel like I Feel Pretty is a colossal waste of time, and I still don't understand why fans of Amy Schumer are fans of Amy Schumer. Again, if you like her, that's cool. I support your decision. I just still don't get it. For my personal recommendation, I would recommend not seeing this film, even if you're in an area that luckily or somehow still has movie tickets that only cost $8 a movie, which is fucking amazing. Either way, do not see this movie unless you really like Amy Schumer. Then just go out. Otherwise, don't waste your fucking money. It's not worth it. And that's where I'll end the video today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please don't hesitate to hit that like button. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel to keep up with everything that's going on over here. Actually, hold on. There was one or two things I was trying to remember. Oh, this will be my last review for the next little bit, actually, for at least another week, because, actually, in a few hours, myself and Mallory are actually flying down to Coarse Gold, California, and we're going to have our wedding ceremony. We've been waiting for a while, and I'm just really excited. So I'm not going to be doing any reviews, at least until after the wedding. However, we're having it this Saturday, and Sunday, right after the wedding, actually, me, her, my best man, and quite a few of her friends are going to see Avengers Infinity War in Fresno, and I'm fucking excited. I mean, not only am I having a wedding this weekend, but I'm also going to get to see the fucking Avengers Infinity War. This is fucking insane. So yeah, I may, depending on how I feel, I may actually end up doing a review from the hotel room right after the movie, or I may just get it done the next day. Either way, I should have a video up Sunday or Monday, so just keep an eye out for that. Alright, and that's just the extra shit that I wanted to say, and really all that's left for me to say personally is just once again, thank you so much for watching everything on the channel, this video, and just farewell until the next video.